Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm finally back after my hiatus, but I will say it is for a reason. It's because I've just been doing a whole lot of testing. Gencon was this weekend, and I am very happy to say I did very good at Gencon. I did actually win the regional on Thursday, and then today, as of recording this, Sunday we had another regional, and I did get third place. Almost went back to back, made it to the finals, and unfortunately bricked at the very end. Just could not draw the cards I needed, and my opponent saw everything he needed. So this wasn't gonna win that game. It just wasn't in the cards. Fate wasn't there. So it's fine though. I'm very happy with my performance. I did get like a winner play mat. It's like rolled up right now, so I'm not gonna pull it out, but I did get over like side events and like the actual regionals. I got like 3 Gojitas. These top 64 Gojitas, which are pretty nice. Or sorry, top 16 Gojitas are pretty nice. Got 3 of those, and then I got 7 of the top 64 cells. Um, Most of these are sold already though, but I do have quite the bundle of them. I think I only have a couple left that are available to for sale, but and then also top 4 sleeves. Goku, I got 2 packs of these. These are pretty cool. It's my profile picture on YouTube, so very fitting for me. But anyways, I'm gonna get on to the deck list. I believe I went between the side events and the regionals. I think I went 18-1 with this list. I was 18-0 going into the finals of the regional today, and like I said, I was bricked, so just lost that. It was a boom error, so that's just how it goes. But hope you guys enjoyed this deck profile. I'm just gonna do this in the client, a bit easier for me. It's gonna be the same list though. But see you guys there. All right, guys, got my winning boo list here from the Gen Con regional. So I'm going to start off simple with the leader. I did choose to go with Kid Buu over Boo Tanks. I do think Kid Buu is a bit better, specifically for the mirror match. I think Boo Tanks might be a better leader into the other decks for this list. I'm not gonna lie, because it's very easy to get the effect off, and the extra aggression really helps you just close out the game. Um, but Boo Tanks is not very good in the mirror match. He's actually kind of terrible. I'm not gonna lie. If a Kid Buu awakens before Boo Tanks, it's really hard for them to actually come back. So I knew I was just gonna be playing a lot of mirrors, so that's why I went with Kid Buu today. Just lock down a card if you have a 4 or more Mahjong on the board, which is very easy to do. You can do it as early as turn 3, which I will talk about. But I'm just running 6 cantrips here. I'm not running the Bibbidi Searcher. I think it's a bad card. At bottom decks, your 5 drops and your super combos, which are the best cards in your deck, and you have to see multiple of them to win games. So I think playing it, sure, allows you to find your mid game pieces, but I just think this deck is so malleable in the mid game that you don't have to actually search for these pieces. You'll find one of the 3, which we'll get onto, but you need to find your 5 drops. So I think running the Bibbidi is not a good option. I would like to go up to 8 cantrips, but deck space is kind of tight, and I wanted to maximize the amount of 10Ks. So I think 6 is enough. You usually always see it early. And then I do play 8 of the 1-drop tap down cards. These cards are broken, like the best turn 1 play in the deck if you're going second. Just keep your opponent starved. It's essential in the mirror. If you don't have this in the mirror, you kind of just lose on the spot because you have to swing your opponent. Um, and I'm running 2 of the Awakener Boo here. Mainly, it's just an extra 10k, but it does come up for its on-play Add-a-Life. It is the only Awakener in my deck, and it does come into play in the Boo Mirror. A lot of times you get sat at 5 life for a couple turns, and being able to play this, Awaken, and then play out another body on top of this that you can just like pop this with or whatever is good. And he also locks down a 5 or less when he swings, which comes in during situations like that. And then I run the one up Bobbity. Of course, you got to run it because, high roll. We love Bobbity. Running 4 Buhan, one of the best cards in the deck. Crucial for the slower matchups where you don't have to be swinging face as much. You just get to go +2 in hand advantage every turn this guy is on the board. +3 in hand advantage if you coin out the Bobbity. Well, actually, no, the Bobbity is a card minus from hand. So I guess it's still +2 in hand advantage, but this guy's very hard to answer early game in the current meta. Usually he'll stick for a turn, or they'll have to go out of their way and play off curve to remove it. So this card is very, very nice. We have the Fat Boo, the game ender in the deck. You can just get a lot of pressure out of nowhere with him. And for the aggro curve that I'm going to talk about after this deck list, this card's like essential, and you just spam these out and you kind of just destroy your opponent. We're in 3 Crit Boo, which is very, very important, and the card that I want to see on turn 3 in most matchups, besides the mirror, or sorry, turn 2 if I'm going second, or turn 3 if I go first. But this is a card that you potentially mulligan for, depending on the matchup, and if you're going first or second. This is very crucial to the game plan I went into the regional with, and that's why I run it at 4 copies, just so I can make sure I see it. You really only play 1 a game, though, and you'll charge it after that. Run 3 of the Lockdown Goku. He's, once again, just another 10k. He comes up situationally. I don't really ever play him, but there's very niche scenarios where he is your best play if you need just 1 extra turn to kill your opponent. And then I run 2 of the 4-drop Boo that on play discard a card, restand. He is very good on curve into the aggro curve that I was mentioning. Helps whittle down your opponent's hand while keeping a body on board. That's also a 4-drop, which activates your leader skill, which is really important. Because sometimes on 4, you'll be awakened, and they might have a problem card on board that you're scared of. You being able to pressure their face while locking down that card and basically clearing their board, quote unquote, is very strong. Just a 2 of, though, because you only really play 1 a game. If you even play 1 a game, it only comes up situationally, depending on the board state. But better 4-drop in the deck is the SR Boo from the manga set. This card's broken. On play, draw a card and rest everything. And same on KO. And that KO effect comes up a lot because of all these 8 3-drops we run that KO cards. A lot of the times we'll just KO this card so we can draw an extra card on top of it, because we won't even need it longer than like 2 turns anyway. Especially when you're going for game, if this is on board, you're like licking your chops, dude, because you get an extra draw. So for the 5-drop, this card's broken, needs hit, needs restricted, banned, I don't care. Being able to cheat out a 4-drop, especially when it's this 4-drop, or this 4-drop, or this into a 3-drop, is just like too much energy manipulation, or energy cheating. But yeah, I mean, this card's cracked. And then 2 of the 5-drop rare Majin Buu Evil. I just run this for the Jiren matchup if it ever comes up. Very niche scenarios. If you don't have a double striker, this comes up in the Boo mirror to get rid of a double striker and play out a 4-drop. Well, you can play out him or the the Buhan, I think. Yeah, you can play out the Buhan or him. So comes up very rarely. It's just like another 10k in the deck though, and I want to make sure I don't just auto lose to a Jiren, so I kept that in there. And then there's 4 super combos. But yeah, that is the list. Let's go over the curves now. I'm just going to go over the curve for Boo, the Boo mirror, and then I'm just going to do a generalized curve for most other decks in the game. Mainly Cell, because that's probably the most other popular deck you'll play, but that Cell curve works just as good into like most of the meta. It should just be like, you know, your Boo, so you should just be able to kill them with this curve. But I'm gonna go over that generalized aggro curve first. So you do just want to start off going second if possible. In your opening hand, you do want to see a crit Boo, because you're gonna have to play that turn 2 with the marker. You do want to see a tap down or a cantrip. Tap down's gonna be better, but cantrip works too. You don't have to see the 1-drop, but More importantly, you do like kind of need this, and you need one of these 8 3-drops in your hand as well, and preferably a 4-drop. But you got a couple turns to draw into it, so you don't need that in your opening hand. I say if you have uh, crit boo and like a Buhan or a fat boo in your hand, you should like snap keep going second. I'm not gonna lie. Because turn 1, you'll display one of your 1-drops. Turn 2, you will coin out the crit boo. You will swing their leader once, assuming you tap down their cantrip turn 1. So it should be at 7 life. And then you can swing their leader again, put them at 6 life. You pass. They likely can't answer this because they're scared of you cheating on a 4-drop if they want to swing it by battle. And most decks can't remove this by effect on 3 energy. So he's pretty safe, which is why we're okay to coin it out. If they do answer it, it kind of sucks. You kind of wasted a turn, I'm not going to lie, but you can recover. I'm just going to assume they aren't able to answer this because most decks can't. Then you do want to curve into either, it really depends on the matchup. I think Fat Boo's a little bit better because when they pass the turn back, they should be at 6 life. You can start off by swinging 25 crit, hit them to 5, and you swing 15 at their leader, hit them down to 4. They should take that because they just want to awaken. It's a Boo at the end of the day, and Boo's known for the starving people out, so they're going to be like, oh, I get to awaken? Cool. And then you tap 3, play Fat Boo. You get to swing 30 at their face. They have to give you 2 cards or a super. You pop this Fat Boo, restand, or pop Crit Boo, restand him, play at your 4-drop if you have it in hand. If you don't have it in hand, you can play out another Fat Boo. If you have like another one in hand, just pitch it and play it out. So you can go 25 down the 5, leader down the 4, go 30, pop that, cheat out the 4-drop, go 30 again. If you don't have the 4-drop, you can cheat out another one of him if you have it. And then that one that you cheated out can pop this one, and you can go 30 again on turn 3. Your opponent is surely at 3 life now, or like no cards in hand. And you'll still be at like 6 health, 5 or 6 life. So you'll pass. They will likely try to swing board. You just let it go. That's fine. You don't really care. Or they'll go face because they can't remove it because you have 2 30Ks on board, which also happens a lot. The following turn, you're able to go into this Boo or just this Boo. It doesn't really matter too much. I guess if they're still at 4 life, you kind of want to play this one. You just swing their face again, sit them at 3 life, or yeah, just swing face to try to get them low, and then you can like pivot to board depending on like their hand size if you think they're just gonna start taking the life or not. And then you can also leader skill. You should hopefully be awakened by then to lock down a card as well. And then on 5, you just play this into a Fat Boo, and you kind of just kill them because you should have a 4-drop established on board that you can pop with a 3-drop to draw an extra card. And you just have too many 30k swings coming at them. Their hand is just not. They just aren't able to handle that pressure. That's how I beat every single Cell player and every single non-Boo player at the tournament, and it was pretty consistent. And it really just felt too strong. Like I never felt like I was in a bad spot doing this curve. Buhan also works on 3 as well if you want to do, you're maybe against like a green Vegeta or a Giblet or something, and you just want to be a bit slower. I do think Giblet you kind of want to treat like the Boo Mirror though, which we will get on to. So in the Boo Mirror, the key is to have these in your hand and Buhan. You have to have Buhan. You will not win the mirror if you don't have Buhan. If they see theirs and you don't, you kind of just lose. So you do want to go first in the mirror. Every other deck in the game, you want to go second. I do think going first in the Boo Mirror is a little bit better. You do want to see a cantrip, a tap down card, and a Buhan in your opening hand. If you see that, you snap keep. You don't care what the other 3 cards are. Ideally, you don't have to have the Buhan, I guess, but if you have like a tap down on a cantrip, that's like good enough going first. Honestly, you just gotta hope you draw into the Buhan. Crit Boo is gonna be your backup plan in the Boo Mirror if you don't have a Buhan on curve. So you basically just pass turn 1. You don't want them to tap down your cantrip. You just want them to swing you. Also, it gives them less turn 1 plays if that makes sense. So they may just pass, or they may do a cantrip. It really just depends on the player. And then they pass back to you. Should charge the 2. You will play a tap down their card if they played one, swing into it, and then play a cantrip. If they do play nothing, the best play is to do 2 cantrips. Um, but if they play nothing and you only have 1 cantrip, the safest play is to play a cantrip, draw, and you do want to make sure that this Buhan has something to pop on the following turn, and 90% of Boo players are just going to, on their turn 2 going second, play a tap down and a cantrip. So you do want to make sure you have 2 guys on the board so that they cannot clear just your 1 cantrip. So I have hard casted a 1-drop tap down card before with a cantrip, even if they had an empty board, just so I could ensure that I had a body the pop for Buhan next turn. Turn 3, you're gonna go into the Buhan. Even better, if you have a Bobbity in your hand, you kind of just win and high roll them, because then you don't even have to worry about keeping these 1-drops on board. You can just play the 1 cantrip. Who cares if they tap it down, swing into it? You have Bobbity the pop, so that is a good insurance card, but it's a 1-of, so odds are you won't see it unless you're my opponent. Then on the client, my opponents on the client always see this card. I don't get it, but and then after this Buhan, they should not be able to answer this actually. Sometimes they'll coin out a 4-drop and try and swing into it, but you should just combo out if you got the counter. In the finals, my opponent swung 25 and 35 at it, and I did not have a super combo, so I had to let it go. And I low-key think that's why I lost. I also did not see any 5-drops, but it was just a combination. It was just a really poor game from me. I just did not draw anything I needed. Um, and then on turn 4, you have some options. You have some pivot options. If they leave their whole board untapped, then you can play this 4-drop immediately and just like start swinging board. Low key, I think a little bit better of a play is to go crit boo on 4 with like a cantrip or something. Swing crit at face. You do need to put your opponent a 5 in the boo mirror and then hold them there. That is very important. And then critting them down the 5 is very advantageous. And then you will do Buhan pops the crit boo to cheat out the 4-drop, which will then rest the board so that your leader and the Buhan can swing it. Make sure you swing your Buhans and get value out of them if you can swing into board with them, because they're just going to get tapped down anyway, because your opponent should be going 5 into 4. That's usually what happens most games, so might as well swing this too, as long as it's not at face. And then after that, you really just do 5-drop and the 4-drop, rest their board again, swing into it, try to control a little bit, and then on the following turn, you will start off your turn. You'll charge up to 6. If they have a Bobbity and they're on the blockers, cool. You just have a tap down that blocker. If not, it's like a cantrip or something. Or sometimes you just don't even charge because you don't have any of the 1-drops or you don't need to play them. What I do is I will swing this 5-drop at leader, and then usually they will take it because they want to awaken. I'll bring them down to 3. If they combo out, just go board for the rest of the turn. But most of the time they take it because they're so low in hand size. It's not worth giving a super and a 5 and then being choked for another turn. So they usually take that, and then you're able to do another 5 into like Fat Boo or whatever, or like Dual Attacker, and you kind of just math them out from there. You just swing a bunch of 30s since you should have some 30s on board. They should have a low hand size, and you kind of just kill them on 6. As usually how the Boo Mirror goes in my experience, and it's a pretty consistent curve and game plan that works. So I hope you guys enjoy this video, and I hope you guys use this and can get a lot better at the game. Maybe win some local tournaments, maybe some regionals if those are coming up in your area. If you guys ain't got any more questions about the deck list or why I'm not running certain stuff or whatever, you can let me know in the comments. I already know there's going to be a comment about why no Bobbity. I will say that right now. I think this deck is a very aggro, like tempo deck. I think Bobbity is a waste of a turn, low key, and the mirror. Your blockers are meaningless; they get tapped down every turn. And then Cell, you kind of just have to like aggro him down. You can't like giving him that extra turn really hurts you, because he really doesn't care that much about the blockers because he can like remove them, or he just swings too much in a turn that like sure you'll get out of 1 attack, but like it doesn't make that big of a difference at the end of the day if you're playing too slow. I do think it has merit. I just couldn't fit it in here. I'd just rather run a bunch of 10Ks because the game usually just comes down to a hand dump. So I thought the Bobbity was a bit too slow. That's why I'm not running it. But um, with that said, I hope you guys have a great day, and thank you guys for watching. Bye.